Welcome to the ultimate episode of Rockets Talk. This is, what time is it? What is it? Midnight almost. We just finished watching Golden State versus Houston at Houston Toyota Center, quarterfinals for the in-season tournament with a trip to Vegas on the line. And your Houston Rockets, by hook or crook, got the job done. Brother, the last time we beat the Warriors was February 20th, 2020. This was the first Trump presidency before the pandemic really kicked off. I said on the last video, that was when 800 deaths from COVID. At that point, the Rockets still featured Russell Westbrook and James Harden. And
Kobe had just passed away.
Kobe thing just happened. Think how many events, world-altering events, hurricanes, freezes, pandemics, racial wars.
that was speaking of, that was before George Floyd, right? Yeah,
before George Floyd, before the insurrection, before like the world is so different. Before the last time we beat the Warriors, and brother, we finally did it. It took 16 attempts, and we did it. 91-90. How you feeling?
I can't believe it. I feel good, man. I mean, it was an ugly game, so disclaimer: I'm going to get into the good, bad, and the ugly. However,
break it down.
Take them how they come, right? So, I mean, I just when they called that foul to give Jalen free throws, I was like, wait, they're calling a foul? Because I thought they were going to call jump ball, and then my immediate next thought was, yo, we get free throws for that. I think we're going to win. And then my next thought after he made the free throws was, Steph is about to send us off.
Dagger. I put that in a group chat I'm in. I was like, good game, guys. While Jalen was hitting the second free throw, I was like, all right, man, we'll get him next time. Because you know this. You know how this goes. With the Warriors, they just have this demonic hold over us that it's just whatever could go wrong. They always set us up. We're going to push them to a game 7. We're going to get them right to that last second. And it's always Clay, Steph, some rando. It's man, it was great. It was great to finally come out on the other end. And for the refs thing, I don't care, bro. You know, game 7, bro. Like, come on, that's all I gotta say.
I'll never feel bad about winning because refs make a weird call. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, okay, wow, you know, because Draymond's not flagrant. It should have been a flagrant. That should have been a flagrant.
It should have been not a basketball play
at all, right? When I saw it, I was like, easy call. I was like, why are they even reviewing this? He just grabbed him around the shoulder. Like in today's NBA, automatic flagrant, not a basketball play, not a play on the ball. Like, anyways, the good, bad, and the ugly. I'll say this for the chat: if you're listening, if you want to comment, if you're listening on YouTube, let us know in the chat the good, bad, and the ugly. What you thought it was.
We could start off. Let's do that. That's because we didn't even really put up a framework for this pod. We just hopped on, so we could do let's start first. Let's lead in with the good. Yeah, let's lead in with the good. The good, I could start. The good was the grit. I think there were multiple opportunities for the Rockets to choke this game away, as we typically do. The youth of the team really showed up in the turnovers. You could tell that the lights were bright for some of the players at certain moments. Some of them went to their bad tendencies, but overall, like for them to bounce back individually and collectively, everybody bounced back in certain key moments to show up, to get a rebound here, make a shot here. Even Fred, as horrible as he played, and I guess I'm mixing good and bad right now, that 3 he hit from the corner, that to me was like so huge in the game. That 3 Fred hit was monumental for us because at that point I think we were down 6. But just the grit. Obviously, Sengun, a team that he is supposed to not even share the court with Steph, Dre running their split action. Sengun really stepped out on a national stage. I think that if the world doesn't know about him, they're going to know about him now. And I've told, people on the Chop Shop, you guys already know that I think he's special. And if you can't see that at this point, then you're just a hater, right? You're just a hater. The guy guarding him, one of the greatest defenders in NBA history. In history. And at some place he made him look like, all right, that was kind of easy. So Yeah, and Draymond made it tough, but I think he was good, and I think I'll say Ime probably got that monkey off his back because Steve Kerr's been kicking his ass for a few years now, so it was
I
good
didn't
to
even
see
think
him
about
kind of.
that. I didn't even think
Yep,
about that. You're right. Yeah, Boston in the finals. You're right. Yeah.
yep. So those are some of the goods, but what are some things that you saw?
Man, look, Steph didn't go crazy on us tonight. 19 points on 8 of 17. I mean, I'll take that as a win, right? Even Jonathan Kuminga, who we've had trouble with, who seems to kind of beat our ass for whatever reason, very random. I mean, it felt like he was impactful tonight, and he was, but 20 points on 20 shots, like that's still pretty solid, right? Sengun, I mean, A Star is Born. I don't know the last time we played on TNT. And so what I really wanted, I mean, obviously, in addition to the win, what I really wanted was for somebody to plant their flag on national television and say, hey, the Rockets are here, and this is the cat, or these are the cats whom are leading the charge, right? So 26, 11, 5. I mean, what? 3 steals. He had 4 turnovers, and some of them were pretty lazy. There was one in the backcourt that was super lazy. So, that's not great. The downside is the turnovers, but I'll live with it. 26, 11, 5 on 10 of 18. Like you said, he had Draymond guarding him. And there were times where Draymond made him look silly, and like Sengun couldn't move him. I could tell he was getting him on the block, and I was like, why is he not hitting the spin? But it's because that's how strong Draymond is, and Draymond was probably leveraging. And so, but then there were other times, right? Like the pump fake at the elbow, and then he goes, and like we said, should have been a flagrant. Like that's how bad he beat Draymond. Draymond had to grab him by the neck, So he had that awesome and one off the putback rebound. He had a couple beautiful passes. He had that 1-2, I think it was to a man after the Rockets like ripped the ball off the turnover and he pump fake Draymond, I think, and then had like a little no look, dish for a dunk. I mean, awesome. It was a Fred Jihad game, unfortunately. Um,
Yes, where is
Classic,
Fred?
but that 3 was huge. 7 assists, four turnovers for Fred is tough. That's usually not his game, the turnovers. But hey, he hit that big shot. Jalen, shout out to Jalen. Not a good game, and we could talk about it, but he made a play, right? I mean, he looked like a goalie on that play. Used his athleticism to get that ball at a moment where the Rockets were like they were getting beat on hustle. When they gave
Yep.
up that offensive rebound, I was like, you got to be kidding me, right? You get the stop, you have time um, to go win it, and then you're just going to get beat to the ball. Jabari Smith hit some threes. I have some criticism of him as well. And then Amen Thompson, man, Amen was awesome. He was like a super utility player tonight. He definitely, I continue to believe he deserves more minutes, only 29 minutes tonight. But like, look at the stat line: 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3
Yep.
assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Like, I mean, just
Six
all-purpose player.
rebounds. Yeah, on here. 6
6. Oh, look,
rebounds.
ESPN says 5.
Oh, okay. I'm on this other app. 71% from the field.
Yep.
Yeah, just everywhere, bro. Only 1 turnover, 2 blocks, guarding hella players.
Yeah.
Just being competent on there. Yeah,
And
man
the
was great.
and the another thing I want to say to kind of add on to your point, uh, this team doesn't quit. I thought it was over when it was 89-82. I thought it was over.
Yeah, same.
Right? They end the game on what, a 9-1 run. It's almost like, I mean, I'm not going to take it this far, but the first thing it reminds me of in terms of a fourth quarter comeback against the Warriors team that you did not expect to make a comeback against. I think it was game 5, right? When the Rockets were down like 81-70 in the fourth quarter, and then they stormed back and won that game in 2018.
Chris
But
Paul
yeah, I
going
mean,
crazy, right? That was the game where
yeah,
Chris Paul was the
that
shimmy.
that was the first, yeah, same game, I think, but the shimmy was in the first half, I think,
Oh,
or it
okay,
was in the
okay.
third quarter. I think it was in the
Yeah,
third quarter.
third quarter.
But yeah, so I mean, and then also, by the way, you see Ime's rotation.
Tight.
Only
I
8,
wrote that as a note
yeah,
on my
only 8
paper.
players. Yeah,
And to the rotation, obviously you see him really utilize Aaron Holiday
yeah,
more, especially in the first half of the game. He brought to start the second quarter. There was a lineup. I think it was the second quarter of Holiday. It was Shangun. I think it was Jalen. It was Amen and Tari, if I'm not mistaken. And that lineup really kind of helped build that first lead we had. And then, obviously we lost it as it went on, but you do notice, and I noticed for him too, that because I expected this coming into this game. I was like, this is the game where Ime is going to show his hand and try to pull off a playoff rotation. where he's really trying to win this game. Like it's a no BS. And, they benched Jalen for Jalen didn't come back into the game till like the 3-minute mark of the fourth quarter
They
around
did
that time.
they did some offense defense substitutions with
Yeah.
Sengun and Jalen down the
Heavy.
stretch. Yeah.
And it was like almost play by play. And I've seen Mike Malone do that with in Denver with Jokic against the Warriors in the playoffs. But I think that his lineups there were some that were like, okay, what are you doing, bro? They were good enough to win against this team. I really like the fact that defensively, you could tell they were really trying to focus on the Warriors' actions. You heard, I think that was Grant Hill that pointed out the split action killing us. I don't know. Well, I know what it is. I personally believe that unless your team is veteran laden and super focused on high IQ, the Warrior style of offense is always going to be the hardest for us to guard because when we are an aggressive team on defense, we want to jump out on switches. We want to be able to shock you and body you. And what they do is they play to that. So they fake like they're going to come off a screen and cut back door. So you're always caught in like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it just takes it's so much pressure they put on
Can I
teams.
tell you? Can I tell
Go
you how
ahead.
to guard split? The way you guard split action is you have to have somebody anchoring the defense that knows, not anchoring like Rudy Gobert, the big man protecting the rim. Somebody anchoring, like communicating, right? Like in the back of a defense or in the middle of a defense in football, right? Calling something out, and that person has to identify the split action as it's about to happen, and they got to say switch, and there has to be an understanding that top man has top, anchor has guy cutting to the basket, and that's how you guard that. But it's, if you lose, it's the type of action that if you lose your awareness for a split second, you're done. And that's why I always talk about movement, because that is what it puts on the defense. It puts you in a position where the burden is on you to make a decision within a split second. And if you mess that decision up, it's a bucket, right? Or it's an open shot at least. Hats off to the Warriors. But yeah, that Podzimski got us with that, like I think to in the
I
fourth
like
quarter.
him. I love
Yeah.
him as a player. I think the game 91-90 also not a great offensive game. Our offense, as we can get to ugly now, our offense did rear its ugly head. Just the lack of shooting. What did we shoot? 3%? What was it? 7% from three for our team, or something stupid like
We
that.
were trying our best to turn the page back
22%.
to the 27 straight.
It was 1 for 15 at some point, I think.
It was definitely 1 for 16 at one point. I don't know if it got
Oh,
worse. We finished 6 of 27 from three, 22%. Somehow we shot 46% on the evening. Let's see. We were
that on
30.
twos we did 57. Yeah.
Yeah, we were 32 of, I believe, 56 from twos. Wow,
Somehow
check this out.
the Warriors were worse shooting than us overall on true
But they hit more
shooting.
threes.
They hit more threes, but I think the offensive issues is going to be an issue. If this was a 7-game series I don't expect the Warriors to shoot that bad. I think that I think Stone has a lot of data. He could see like the team is right here. Like we are at a level where, and I agree. I heard Charles Barkley doing his post game analysis where he said we're not ready for prime time. I understand what he's saying. I don't think he means we're not ready for TNT. He's saying we're not ready for that light. Like, okay,
Right.
this is a team that's like a premier A1 NBA team. I think we are right where we should be. But for the Rockets to take that next leap, we're going to have to get some sure ball handlers because the turnovers were just stupid. And then shooting is definitely going to be a necessity for us.
Shooting is an issue. Yeah, when he says that, I take it. I mean, I don't take any offense to it. I think he's right. Right, we're not a contender. That's what I take that to mean. This
Yeah.
team is not a contender, and it's not. And no one expected it to be. So I'm not saying it has to be. I do have this thought though about, Stone was saying, hey, we're not going to go in. We're not going to go make a huge trade this season. The main reason for that is because Alp and Jalen are hard to trade because of their extension, and so in order to make that trade, you would have to include Fred or Dylan or both. Or you'd have to find a team that's willing to take a bunch of junk salary like Jock Landale, Jay Tate, Jeff Green, Steven Adams, basically all like, combined into one. And it's just hard to pull off. And the options aren't great either. But that aside, this team does need that trade to take the next level. I wonder if the defense is already good enough. I mean, I think the defense is already good enough to go win. To where it's like, traditionally you want to do things gradually, build them up correctly. I get that. Lately, though, windows open and shut quick.
Yep.
Um, there are teams that like you think, hey, this team is blossoming and like, man, they got a bright future. And then all of a sudden things change. There's a team like that recently that I'm forgetting. Pelicans are one of them. Huh?
The Memphis Grizzlies, a
Okay.
team
Yeah.
that were going to the second round of the playoffs, fighting the Warriors that went on to win the championship, and all of a sudden the guy gets hurt here, and you're a terrible team for 2 years.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Cleveland.
so definitely,
Like
yep.
like Cleveland's 21-4 right now. I get it. But Cleveland was, oh my God, on the up and up. And then they just got bounced in the first round and the second round, like a very disappointing fashion. And then everyone's like, oh, you got to trade Donovan Mitchell and blah, blah. Like things change quickly. Minnesota, right? Minnesota was like looking like they had something for real. And now they're currently the ninth seed. Sacramento on the up and up, 48-34. Boom. Not the case anymore. And they have their core. They have the core players that they still had. So you get the point, right? So a part of me wonders if, man, don't take it for granted. Go get it before you got to start making decisions on extensions with Tari and Jabari, and then the class after that, Amen. But anyways, so the bad though, yeah, it's the offense. It's the shooting. It is Fred playing really bad, nearly shooting the Rockets out of the game. Jalen Green, 5 of 15 from the field. He had 5 turnovers. It's never good when you have as many turnovers as you do field goals. 0 of 4 from the 3-point line. He had 4 points in the second half. One of those, I think, was the first bucket or first couple buckets of the third quarter, and then he didn't score at all until those free throws at the very end. So, I mean, that's just tough to live with from Jalen Green when he's supposed to be like a scorer, right? Because the Rockets need offense. Tari Eason, I thought, was actually kind of bad.
Yeah,
He did
very
well.
erratic.
Yes, he did well rebounding. Missed, some point blank type layups, the types of shots where you're like, man, he's about to get blocked. Shouldn't even take the shot. He got smoked by Buddy Hield in that third quarter off the ball. Buddy Hield was running him off screens and just really turning the game around. So that was not good. Jabari had 1 rebound. I posted that on Twitter. A lot of people got upset that was my takeaway from the game, or one of them. But 1 rebound. I mean, and it's not that I get the, he was on the perimeter guarding guys and blah, blah, blah. He was away from the rim. Yes, that's true. However, there were at least 2 moments where he had a rebound and he just like slapped it straight out of bounds and gave the ball right back to the Warriors. One of them was, I think it was 7-4 Rockets. It was early. Jabari had an uncontested rebound, just slaps it out of bounds for no reason. And then Steph comes and hits a 3, right, and ties the game up. Just little things like that. And there was one towards the end of the game as well. So, but yeah, it's the offense. And then Sengun had the turnovers as well. And I think Tari, let me see, Sengun, Fred, and Jalen combined for 13 turnovers. That's not good. But yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Jabari's issue was what we've seen in the past from our players against Draymond and Looney. They get punked. We've seen Clint Capella look like a shell of himself trying to play against that team. When you're on the tier, the reason he's tipping the ball because they're probably grabbing him. They're probably like pulling him, boxing him out, getting elbows into him. So that's just a physicality thing with him and that particular team. I do think that these type of games, when you get to experience this level of competition, this is one of the things that I thought it was important that the Rockets were able to make the playoffs last season, or at least get into the play-in tournament, because when you get to this level, I mean, think about all the expectations. One, like you said, their first national TV game since Lord knows when. A game that's going to spring vault the team to Las Vegas to play for something meaningful. You have the expectations of a team that's beaten you 15 times in a row. You got the Warriors. Steph is coming back. It's a home game. The court is different. The packed out crowd, and to be in those lights and to be able to perform, I think it does set a new level of confidence for them. So they can go on the road in certain environments. They can, stand up for the big games, and they've been doing it all season. But to me, this level of that they had to play at is something that I don't think most of the players. There was a graphic. I don't know if it was on the sports Space City or ESPN or it was a graphic that had the number of minutes of playoff minutes that our team has. It's Fred
Yeah,
at 1,300,
yep,
Dylan at 600 and something, and then zeros everywhere
yep,
else.
yep.
So I mean, this is invaluable experience for our guys. Like you can't put a objective number on what this does, but I just feel like to me these type of wins spring vault you to a different stratosphere of confidence and like we expect more out of the Rockets now.
Yeah, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. Like when you were talking, I was thinking about invaluable experience. Or maybe remember those old commercials where it was like something something, $20, something something, priceless. It's like
Yeah,
MasterCard or Visa or something.
I think it was
Remind me of that.
basketball.
It's priceless
Yes.
experience, right? And it's cool because it's new. This is the second year of the in-season tournament. Um, you used to have to get through the grind of a whole regular season and then address that anxiety of the playoffs and like, oh my God, different stage, blah, blah, blah. Um, so getting some type of simulation of like, hey, this game means something and we're going extra hard, there's something on the line to play for. And seeing like, yo, by the way, 100,000 was on the line. I think each player wins 100,000 for each
Just for going?
for winning tonight's game. I think the
Oh
winners of
wow, I didn't
tonight's
even know there
game.
was money involved. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they said that on the broadcast, and I wasn't sure if I heard him correctly, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I think each Rockets player won 100K tonight. I think, which is cool, right? So like, if I'm Reed Shepard, I'm like, hey, awesome, on a rookie contract, and I'm getting 100,000. But yeah, so um, you see Sengun shine, right? And I think that you and I probably would have thought if I had to pick one player who, when the lights are bright, they're going to turn it on. Sengun did it, right? He was also 6 of 7 from the free throw line, 10 of 18. He hasn't been efficient this season. He was pretty
Right.
efficient tonight, 26 points on 18 shots. Put up one of those like Sabonis type stat lines, So it's cool to see because those playoff numbers mean something different. You know what I mean? And this is not a playoff game, but you can just imagine when it's the type of game where you got to spam the same actions over and over to take advantage of whatever the mismatches are that you've identified. Those numbers start to go crazy and you start to kind of separate like who's who, right? And so Sengun did that. Another thing, by the way, that we didn't talk about, the Rockets forced like 5 or 6 24-second violations.
I think it
Um,
was. I think some dude posted on Twitter. I think it was like 8 or either 6 or 8.
wow. I mean, that's a lot. I
Yes,
don't know if I've ever seen that many in one game. Definitely not in like
they
modern.
they forced 8 24-second violations on the
Wow.
Warriors.
Wow. And let me just say, for anyone, who thinks like Sengun got hunted on defense in the third quarter at
Yes,
one point, and it was working for Golden State, and they had to pull him, right? And I see the reactions to that. They forced a lot of those 24-second violations with him on the court, right? Down the stretch, he was getting buckets, he was dishing buckets. Like, let's identify the
that
given.
that point to me. That's I mean, if the defense, it's just normal basketball stuff. We hunt. There's some plays where we hunted Draymond. Literally, the Rockets are trying to hunt Draymond with Sengun. So does that mean Draymond's a bad defender? No. The same actions that they scored on with him on the court, they scored off the court. So it's there's certain looks and lineups. To me, all of that, like anybody that's still on that wave is just they just don't know basketball.
Yeah,
Um, our defense is tailor made the way it is. And there obviously you can always do the substitutions where you don't want your guys to play like we were blitzing Steph, for example, right? We're blitzing Steph with the screens, and they were able to get into a 4-on-3 with that. So that's really the main reason they just took him out. Okay, I just want to switch everything now, force them to into late shot clock, isolations, things like that. Even with that, they went into their split action. We're just cutting on it. So it's a
and it
chess
worked.
piece, and it worked. Yeah. So it's. I mean, I'm not. To me, I'm not the Sengun defense thing. I think we can put that to rest. At the end of the day, he is a center. I don't give a damn if you're Rudy Gobert, like he was being hunted by Luca in the with like every center, every player. Fred was being hunted by Kaminga and them and
We
Draymond in the
used to
post
hunt.
up.
We used to hunt Steph Curry.
Facts. So to me, that people are nitpicking with that. Like we have like one of the biggest questions about Alperen Sengun for his career was always defense. was always defense. So Rockets fans, he is a good defender. And if he is a good defender, the upside for his potential as a player is crazy. Like, to me, we can't even. I'm not gonna lie, Roosh. The Sabonis talks, I think we passed that, bro. Because Sabonis
Yeah.
may be a more complete player at this point in his career, and I'll grant him that. But I've never seen the Kings dump the ball off to Sabonis and say, "Attack Draymond, go cook." Like, we have
Oh, no, no,
nothing
no,
else,
no,
bro.
no, 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 Frank. We did see it, and it was
It was
basically the
terrible.
reason. It was the reason, pretty
Yes.
much, that Sacramento lost the series because
So
Sabonis couldn't do it.
he
Yeah,
couldn't do anything. He was exposed in that playoff series offensively, and to me, that was their limitation. It was the inverse. Fox was ready to go. He didn't have that 2-man partner to go with it. Right now, the biggest issue for the Rockets and the ceiling of this team is our backcourt. Both Fred and Jalen. It used to be just Jalen a lot. Fred is tripping, bro. Fred was like tonight, brother. Like, Fred, man, like, if we lost this game, man, the thumbnail for this video would have been Fred Bin Laden, bro. I swear to God. I would have put the hijab and the whatever it's called, the turban on him, beard, bombs next to him, and everything, bro. But because, oh my God, Fred, that man's
Fred
legacy
Jihad.
was saved by Jalen Green free throws tonight.
Fred Jihad. Yo, that one play where we were making a run. I think we were down one or something. We were making a run late in the game. Maybe like 5 or so minutes left, and we get the ball back. I think Dylan, I forget, maybe it was Jabari. Somebody was flashing down the middle, and it wasn't transition, but we were like bringing the ball up, so people were like kind of.
A man was flashing down the middle, wide open, and Fred, I think he gave it to Sengun, right?
So Fred saw a man and he was about to pass it, and he took a step forward, and then the window closed very quickly, and he realized it wasn't there, so he like improvised and dumped it to Sengun. And I don't know, either Sengun wasn't ready for it, Fred missed
Yeah.
it, something, just straight turned it over 2 seconds.
Draymond stopped Sengun, and it was like ruined the play. I
It was
mean,
just like,
yeah, I don't want to get on a tangent with Fred. I'm disillusioned right now, man. I love the dude. I love the culture reset, but it's one thing when you're young guys like Tari, like I said, was playing erratic. He was tunnel vision tonight, trying to do too much, and I get it. You're on a stage, you want to show, you want to help, so I get that. I could live with that. I could live with Jabari. Jabari. I mean, yeah, the rebounds, he's getting punked by guys that have been in wars, right? So we get that. Like, that's Draymond and Looney, bro. They've battled men. You just a kid. But Fred VanVleet, bro, we saw the graphic, 1,300 minutes in the playoffs, bro. You playing like you just on dust. Like, I don't understand the decision making for our team. Like, you're the point guard, but you're not setting the table. I can live with
well,
even
but
the
hey, but
shooting. It was
let me play
just
devil's advocate though. Like, what is there to set the table for other than Shengun posting up or picking and rolling? I'm with you. It was
yeah.
Fred Jihad tonight all the way, and it's been Fred Jihad for most of the season, unfortunately. But I continue to think that the issue is that he's got to be a number one or number two on a nightly basis, and
I seen
obviously,
that.
like,
Agreed.
obviously he ain't that, right. His shot creation is, give me the screen, let me take the screen, and before they switch, I'm just going to pull a three. That's his shot creation. Or let me take the DHO and take a midi. Or let's run the pick and roll, and I might stop and pop for a midi, or I'm going to go straight to the basket and try to dump it off or just flip it up. Like that. That's all he's got, right? He does not have a bag. He does not create separation. His way of getting shots off is arcing it over the defender. And those are difficult shots, right? He's made a good career out of it. But if that's your number one or your number two, I mean, it's hard. It's just going to be hard. No way around that. Pause. But so,
Yo, but it does go back to Jalen, man. All right, Jalen needs to be better, straight up. Like,
yeah,
he needs
yeah,
to be better. The inconsistencies. It's okay, cool. Yeah, we're playing Indiana on a Thursday night randomly, bro. This is it. Like, this is the moments that you need guys to step in. Yes, I'm glad he made the free throws, but he just needs to be better because when he is not better, it forces Fred to do things that are out of character for him, and then it just trickles down for the team. And the Rockets, not I don't care about like you said, they're not going to trade him. Jalen is here, guys. He's here. He's going to be here for this season for sure. So
yep.
once again, it really our season's limit comes down to how he's going to play. And you heard the announcer say it. It's been a up and down thing for him. He gets benched. He plays good. He'll drop 40. He'll drop 9. He'll drop. We just need some consistency from him. I am going to note, I have noticed this, that when the stage or the teams, the level of play is increased, he is not as effective. Jalen is good to drop 40 on an underman Clippers team or the
An undermanned
Chicago.
Sixers team.
Yeah, like these bad teams. But when it's like tough defenses where you got to, and to me, it really comes down to reading the game. And I think because on bad teams that have bad defenses, they give up everything. Like you could just hit the hit the paint, get to the bucket. They play bad deep. When it's a team that is chess matches, you start seeing some of those flaws and some of those things start to get exposed in this game. The turnovers, the decision making, the indecision, not being able to get around pods and passing back out. So those things he just needs to be better. But I think that having Sengun, having Amen Thompson, I know you were you were right to criticize Jabari. I loved how he played today because even though he didn't play to like his best game, he didn't look like he was scared. Like there was no fear in him. He took all his shots. He was in there battling, even though he wasn't winning all the battles. And that's what I like to see. Amen Thompson didn't look like he was scared. He was out there. Tari Eason didn't look like he was scared. He could have reeled back a little bit. There were some points Jalen looked a little shaky, like the lights were too bright for him. So those are to me, it's just all of this stuff is going to be answered. Like at the end of the season, where more opportunities like this, we got to face OKC, bro. Let's not forget that. Like it's not this is not the championship. We still got to face OKC.
I agree. I mean, look, I have been. By the way, Sengun had a couple moments where things looked too bright. Obviously, he had a lot of moments where that wasn't the case, but he had a couple turnovers where I was like, "What are you doing?" Right, and he just looked kind
Yep.
of slow, and he was throwing his hands up and complaining.
I hate
But
that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna throw that in there too. I hate his the disposition
yeah,
when he misses a shot or gives up a bucket. Like, bro, just get back on defense. Stop
yep.
doing that whole.
There were a couple times where he missed it and just kind of like looked around and then jogged back, and I'm just like, man, even when I play pickup or when I play my little league games, I'm like, bro, I don't care if you miss a shot. I don't care if you turn it over. I don't care. Get back. Period.
Get your ass
Never
back.
just give back. Easiest thing you can do in basketball. Um, look, I almost feel bad because I've been so harsh on Jalen. Before I get to Jalen, Jabari, I'm being a little harsh on Jabari because I just expect more from him so often, right? And I mean, I realistically I know what to expect from him, but given that he's just like a straight up role player in this version of the team right now, there are times where I'm just like, man, come on. Like, I need a little more from you. He got smoked on defense a lot. He also made some really good plays on defense. He had the game saving block at the end. So, like, he deserves credit. But he was beat off the dribble quite a bit, especially in that third quarter. So, Jalen, I've obviously had a lot of criticism for the kid, and I kind of feel bad at this point, but there's just no way around it. 12 points on 15 shots, 0 of 4 from 3, not a threat from the perimeter at all. He didn't get to the free throw line once until the very end. And obviously a great play at the very end. But we were in the bonus, and that's why he got to the line. He put no pressure on the rim other than that, obviously that dunk, which was awesome. He did not put pressure on the rim in a consistent way. He didn't get to the line. Like, if you don't have it going and you can't hit your shot and you're fumbling this and that, with a player of his skill set and archetype, the one thing you can do is get downhill and force the issue, force the action, right? He didn't even do that. The turnovers, he had a couple turnovers that were like lazy backcourt passes. There was like, I think 2 of them happened behind the half court line. One of them, he just picked up his dribble because he couldn't go left and he was stuck on the right side and just like threw a lazy pass and it got stolen. And then something similar happened again. I mean, if you really boil it down, other than like a 3 to 4 minute stretch in the second quarter where he had that dunk and had a couple finishes and like got people excited, got things going, he was pretty awful. And so if you're going to expect him to be that scorer, he's got to show it, right? 12 points on 15 shots does not cut it. 4 points in the second half with 2 of them being from free throws in the bonus. It just doesn't cut it. More turnovers than assists, 3 assists, 5 turnovers, doesn't cut it. Same amount of turnovers as made field goals, 5 and 5, doesn't cut it. I just no other way to put it. So if the Rockets are able to find somebody that can do, You know what sucks about it is, like, I've said this before, and this is kind of where I am, and this is what prompted the Jordan Clarkson comparison when I made it years ago. Is he's a microwave scorer, and I feel now more than ever, I feel very confident that he is a microwave scorer. Like, that's what he is. There's going to be times where he comes out there and lights it up, right? There's going to be stretches of the game, like we saw tonight, where he lights it up. And then there's going to be games and stretches of games and multiple games where it's just not there. And you're like, man, so you're riding a hot hand with him. If the hand is hot, great. Let it ride. Awesome. When it's not, you have to yank and make an adjustment. And right now, that adjustment is Amen Thompson. Obviously, he's not a real shooting guard, so it's like kind of weird. You got to play a different style. But that's I agree with you. That's the ceiling on this team, and there's a domino effect because when Jalen's not able to do what Jalen does, as you pointed out, that's when Fred starts going Fred jihad, right? And like then it's just like, okay, now we have no other options for scoring unless Jabari gets hot or Tari's hustle and Amen's hustle and offensive putbacks and cuts and those kinds of things. Transition. You got to start manufacturing buckets, and that's when you get in trouble, right? And this Rockets team, they were able to get the win, but they were not able to manufacture offense tonight. Sengun accounted for unofficially. He had 26 points, 5 assists, and 2 of those assists, I think, were for 3. So that's 10 points. So that's 36 of our 91 points. And that is 39.6%. Sengun basically accounted by way of scoring and assisting. He basically accounted for 40% of the Rockets' points tonight, 2/5. That's not going to work on a nightly basis.
Yeah, those are facts. And then we have moving on to OKC. OKC on I think Saturday, right? Is the game is
So
Saturday, then Sunday will be the championship. Is that right? Or
I
is it?
think I think OKC is Saturday. I don't know when the championship
Oh,
is.
okay. It doesn't
I'm
sound
confused.
right.
The cup confuses me, bro. To be
Yeah,
honest with
yeah, because a back to back for the thing. It might be actually, to be honest, but that game is going to be tough. And
you. That's weird.
we is it a back to back?
No, 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 no. So we have. It doesn't say actually. Well, I'm looking at the Rockets schedule. The next game on the schedule is Thursday, December 19th. So they played December 14th against OKC, and then you know what? Let me take
Yeah,
a
that'll
quick
be
look.
next week probably.
Let me
Yeah,
take a
that'll
quick
be the
look.
next. That's regular season. So I think it's gonna be. It's gonna be. I know Saturday for sure. Let me look on NBA.com. Yeah, it's gonna be Saturday. But I saw the graphic. I think it said it was a back to back. But regardless, we got to face OKC. That's what's next for us on the horizon for this in
It
season cup.
would be Tuesday. So we play OKC on Saturday,
Okay.
8:30 Eastern, so 7:30 Central on
Okay.
ABC. And then if we win that game, the championship, or whoever wins the
Is
game,
it'll be on Tuesday.
Tuesday, December 17th, 8:30 Eastern on ABC.
Bet. So that's we got to get to the chip, man. We got to get to the chip. Hopefully, the OKC Thunder. I mean, that's we match up well with them. Historically, so that'll be a good game. I would expect everybody to play a lot better from our team, and so we can actually put together a good showing on the national stage because that's going to be another national TV. And that's the great thing about these games is like you get to showcase your players on that level. And like you pointed out, having multiple players that perform highly, not just Shangoon, but I would love for Jalen to actually have a good game on a national stage because that not only propels the team, it also markets the team a lot better for other players and other times to be on TNT that is not forced because of the in-season tournament. So let me ask you, game coming up, what do you think, man? What do you think our odds are?
I hate to be the negative guy, but I anticipate an SGA free throw fest on
Let's go.
Saturday. And so I feel like all this intensity. Now, I feel like all this intensity and physicality that we play with, that is our trademark, that is so exciting. I feel like they're going to use it against us and give SGA free throws and this and that. But if they keep it within the spirit of like the cup and like playoff style, blah, 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 maybe that benefits us. And maybe they let us play our style. The Warriors, I don't even think they took 10 free throws tonight. So it wasn't necessarily a free throw fest at all tonight. I think we took like 10 free throws. They took 9. So we'll see. What about you?
I have a good feeling about that. I feel like they're on this to me, the getting this off their back, I think opens up a different level of swagger for the team. Beating OKC already, I think that coming off of how terrible they all played, I expect if we have a pulse at least two positions out there, I feel like we should have enough to beat them. Their biggest counter against us, honestly, was Chet and his
Yeah.
ability to space the floor and protect the rim. Him not being there, I know Hardenstein is good, but I think aside from that, I think Alp is too much of a mismatch for their team, and that's really what's been our leverage against them is Alp, and Chet kind of neutralized that after his first game against them. So
Don't forget
I'm
though,
hoping.
Caruso missed that game where we beat
He
them.
sure did.
Caruso's back, so
It was him and somebody else that they were saying was an important piece, but we'll see. Despite that, good times. We are free from the curse of the Warriors, and finally we can just move on and not have to think about another team. I'm done with. I don't even want to hear about the Warriors. I don't give a damn what Steve Kerr thinks about the refs. He can go cry because they have
man.
caused
Is he crying
traumatic.
about the refs?
Oh, bro, he has a whole press conference. You got to go catch up
Oh,
on it.
okay.
Yeah, he's
I
making
gotta
it a
go back.
thing. He's making it a thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay,
So,
Steve. Hey, I'll
but
say this: the Rockets probably became darlings tonight after tonight, right?
oh, for sure.
And I think we already were because like we've kind of been one of the stories of the season. But I think tonight was like, oh, Houston knocked off Golden State, all the storylines. So that is cool. And also, I forgot Sengun is on a sore knee. He was questionable with that knee. So
Call the sleeve. Yep.
yeah, to do what he did on a bum knee, pretty cool.
So they get a long stretch break between these games. So hopefully everybody gets healthy. Just like the question Rushid asked, what is your good, bad, and ugly from the game? Put that in the comments or in the chat. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. Keep rocking the Chop Shop. I'm going to keep dropping that